Okay, did you know that millions of retirees end up missing out on thousands of dollars just because they missed a single piece of mail? It's crazy, right? Well, today we are unpacking some incredibly important developments on the horizon. If you were born in the 1940s, the 50s, or the 60s, you absolutely need to pay close attention right now. We've got major Social Security updates approaching that could directly impact your benefits in 2026. But here is the most crucial thing you've got to know right off the bat. These changes are absolutely not a one-size-fits-all situation. What applies to one generation might just completely bypass another. We're going to break down exactly what you need to know, and more importantly, the steps you are highly advised to take before it's too late. So, let's dive right into this. Here's what we're looking at today. First, July 2026, are you ready? Second, for the 1940s group, update your records. Third, for the 50s, secure your back pay. Fourth, the 1960s, timing your retirement. And finally, we'll wrap up with the generational checklist. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, July 2026. Are you ready? Let's talk about the myth of one size fits all. So the central question you really need to be asking yourself right now is this: will these July 2026 changes actually affect your income? Well, the answer is tied entirely to your birth year. The rules changing and taking effect in July 2026 are highly specific to your birth decade. This means what triggers a massive change for one generation might mean absolutely nothing for another. I want you to think about your own birth decade right now. Or, if you're younger, think about your parents' birth decades. Understanding these specific categories is literally the only way to ensure you or your loved ones act before it's too late and avoid potentially leaving thousands of dollars on the table over the course of a retirement. Moving right along to Section 2. For the 1940s crew, update your records and securing your communication channels. Now, if you were born in the 1940s, your primary focus right now really isn't about changing when you retire, right? You're likely already there. Instead, your generation's focus absolutely must be on an urgent administrative check. Why? Because you might actually be eligible for a review of your old benefit records. We are talking specifically about past calculation errors regarding your earnings from when you applied many years ago. It really comes down to a super simple equation. Missed notices equal missed benefits. Imagine you recently downsized, or maybe you moved closer to your grandkids. If the Social Security Administration actually discovers an error in your favor but has an old address on file, you might never see that letter. You could entirely miss out on having your benefit value corrected and increased, and nobody wants that.
So let's see how this builds into an actionable plan for you folks in the 1940s group. Step 1, keep an eagle eye out for those earnings record checks for calculation errors. Step 2, immediately update your mailing address and your contact info with the administration. Seriously, double check it today. And step 3, don't just wait around. Proactively inquire about whether your account has any pending reviews or if any notices have been sent out that need your response. Securing these communication lines is absolutely 100% the only way to make sure you receive any necessary recalculations from those long ago applications.
All right, Section 3. Calling all 1950s folks. Secure your back pay. Let's look at the WEP and GPO repeal. For the 1950s generation, the narrative shifts completely. If you previously worked for a government entity, or maybe you held a job where Social Security taxes just weren't deducted from your paycheck, you might have been penalized in the past. We're talking about rules known as WEP, that's the Windfall Elimination Provision, or GPO, the Government Pension Offset. These rules used to reduce benefits for workers who also got pensions from jobs that didn't pay into Social Security. But here's the game changer. Under the Social Security Fairness Act, these two provisions have been repealed. And this brilliantly illustrates a massive opportunity, because thanks to this repeal, the administration is actively recalculating these older, previously penalized accounts. That means this specific group might be in line for a serious financial windfall in the form of back pay. How great is that? But hold on, that windfall doesn't just magically appear in your bank account if your paperwork is a mess. Before any of this newly calculated back pay can be transferred to you, you have got to proactively confirm your direct deposit details. If the administration doesn't have your current active bank account info on file, they literally cannot send you the money. I know it sounds simple, but thousands of payments bounce every single year just because of closed or outdated accounts, and that triggers massive administrative delays. So, your homework here is crystal clear. First, confirm your current bank direct deposit information. Second, contact the administration to see if you have any pending recalculations based on that repeal. And finally, keep a close eye on your account for any outstanding back pay. Please, do not let a simple banking error cause a costly delay in receiving funds that you are rightfully owed. Which brings us to Section 4, for the 1960s generation. Timing your retirement and the math of your claim age. Now, for the 1960s cohort, you guys are rapidly approaching retirement age, which makes you perhaps the most critical group when it comes to upcoming decision making. We are shifting away from administrative fixes and back paychecks and moving straight into strategic, lifelong financial decisions. And for most folks born in 1960 or later, 67 is the magic number. That right there is your full retirement age according to the administration. That single number essentially dictates the baseline for everything else you do next.
So the crucial point here is exactly how you maneuver around that magic number of 67. The path you choose makes a massive difference. Let's say you choose to claim your benefits early at age 62. Well, you are accepting a permanent, lifelong reduction in the value of your benefits. On the flip side, delaying your claim until age 70 results in a significantly increased monthly benefit amount. Before you even think about submitting any application, you have got to carefully compare these options. You need to know every choice available to you and compare the actual dollar value of the benefits at each age. This isn't just about July 2026 anymore. This is about locking in a decision that fits your specific long-term financial reality.
Finally, Section 5, the generational checklist. Let's summarize your action items.
All right, to wrap this all up, it's clear every generation has a completely different homework assignment before these July 2026 updates hit. Just to recap, if you're in the 1940s, your immediate action item is to update your address and verify your contact info so you don't miss any notices about account reviews and past calculation errors. For the 1950s, your task is to verify your direct deposit info to ensure any WEP or GPO backpay can actually reach you without delay. And for the 1960s, your homework is purely strategic. You need to run the math and deeply compare claiming at 62 versus your full retirement age of 67 versus delaying until 70.
We've really seen today just how drastically different the rules are depending on the exact decade you were born. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Your retirement timeline might be all set in your mind, but are your records actually ready for it? I challenge you to take action today. Log in, make the calls, and do the math. And please share this explainer with family members or friends who fall into the 40s, 50s, or 60s brackets. Getting this information to them before July 2026 could literally save them from making an irreversible Social Security mistake, or hey, it might even help them unlock benefits they didn't even know they had. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and stay focused on your financial future.